Hi everyone, and we are live. So I'm just waiting for all the tech stuff to start working. Looks like we've got a few people struggling to join the live. That's why we're waiting. So if you can hear me, just why I think we've got a few early tech problems. If you can hear me, if you could put a note in the comments just to make sure you can hear me okay. While we are waiting for a few more people to join and just overcome some of the tech problems, let me know where you're from. Where are you joining me from tonight? I'm just going to get everything loaded on my phone so I can see all your comments from tonight. Perfect. So Nelson can hear me. Perfect. Starting to see some comments come through. We will kick off shortly. A few people having a problem with the link by the looks of it. Let me just make sure. Perfect. Right. Perfect. Okay, so we're getting a few. You can all hear me fine. Perfect. We'll kick off because I don't want to keep you guys any longer with your valuable time as it is. We've got a few people joined us already. Anyone that's struggling with the link, there will be a replay coming out afterwards as well for those of you that are registered. So rest assured, I will get this live to you all so you can watch it. So let's get started. Let me bring up. Can it just again, this is the first time I'm actually using this platform for my masterclass. I've changed things up a little bit. Can everyone see the slides okay? Can I just have a quick okay to that as well, so I don't start firing through the slides and none of you can see the content? Yep, perfect. And more people can hear me. Perfect. Right, let's get started. Perfect. Few people getting in, so it looks like we've overcome some of the tech problems as well as perfect. Right, let's kick off then. Without no further ado, let's get started. So we've got most people over the tech problems and with the link. So perfect. Let's get started. So what are we all here for tonight? So how to get out of retail and land your dream job with work-life balance without taking a pay cut and without using those dreaded job search websites. So let's jump straight in. Before I go through my masterclass, I always like to make sure I go through who this masterclass is for, so I don't have people sit through an hour or so of valuable content for the wrong person, because I'll be wasting your time and I'll be wasting my time covering it with you. So who is this masterclass for? It's for retail managers. It's for retail managers that are dissatisfied with their current career situation in retail. It could be for those just starting out on their retail escape journey, but it's also for people that may have already tried to escape retail and maybe have been unsuccessful so far in that change. So I've already asked the first question while I was just killing some time with some of the tech problems to begin with. So if you haven't had a chance to introduce yourself in the chat, let me know who you are and where you're from. If you haven't done that already, I know some of you have already. And then probably for those of you that have already jumped ahead with the introduction question, what would you like to learn from today? And it'll be good because I'll be addressing some of your some of the things you want to learn throughout the masterclass tonight, and then there'll be some time for Q&A. So I like to get a feeling for what you want to learn because then I can make sure I cover some of the bits later on if I know I'm not covering it as part of the content tonight. So let me know in the comments, what do you want to learn today? And why I'm letting those comments flood into the chat, this is what I'll be going through today and what I'll be showing you and teaching you about today, and I will be covering more at the live Q&A at the end. So what we will be covering, so why job search websites don't work and what you should be using instead, how you can land a job outside of retail when you don't have qualifications or direct industry experience in another industry, what it actually takes to stand out from the crowd and secure a job offer in another industry, ultimately how to get hiring managers in other industries to take your retail experience seriously, even if you might be up against people with experience in the industry that you're trying to move into. Probably the big one, how do you actually change careers and not have to take a pay cut, not have to start from the beginning, and actually what can you do to actually increase your salary, which is completely possible with what I'm going to show you tonight. What you're going to leave this masterclass with today is a step-by-step Retailscape process. This isn't me to go for a load of fluffy content that's not actionable. I create this masterclass to give you everything you need to go away, and you can take everything I show you tonight and start your retail escape. That's the actionable content I'm going through today. So it won't be just around some theories and some, a little bit of information here and there. I'm going to give you a step-by-step process, and that's why I outlined today what you have to physically go and do. And that process has been built over the years of me helping people and having escaped retail myself. And then at the end of the masterclass, if you feel like you'd need more support than what I've covered on this masterclass, it's an opportunity for me to tell you a little bit more about what I do and how I support people, should you be interested in my services. So that's the plan for tonight. I'm going to run through everything on here. So let's get started. Let's have a quick look at the comments. Some want to learn where I am and how to apply my transferable skills, want to leave retail here but don't want to sacrifice salary. So it looks like we've covered some of these already, how to market myself with my retail skills. So yeah, perfect. So for those of you that stay till the end, I'll be doing some live giveaways. So at the end of this masterclass, I'll be doing a live Q&A. So it's your perfect chance to, if you want to ask me any specific questions, you can fire away in the chat and ask me any questions you have that I haven't covered. And for those of you that do stay to the end, I'll be picking at random winners of 3 of these prizes. So someone will win a CV and resume critique from myself. One lucky person will gain access to my career idea generator, and another person will gain access to my job offer blueprint, all that you can purchase from my website normally anyway. And everyone that attends and watches this masterclass will also receive a little bonus from me as well. So my story. So some of you might have been following me for years. Some of you might have been following me for days. There could be a mixture of you on this call tonight. So a little bit about my story. I worked in retail for about 10 years, which actually, in the grand scheme of things, isn't as long as some people do have retail careers. I'd be shocked if there isn't people on this call that may be on year 20, maybe even year 30 or even longer. So let me know in the comments, what's your stint so far? Because a lot of people do more time in retail than some people do in prison. So let me know how long you've been in retail so far. But for me, I've done 10 years, and I guess my retail escape journey started when I just started to think, is there something more out here? I was starting to get fed up with the lack of work-life balance, the lack of flexibility, always having to plan ahead if I ever wanted time for myself, if there was ever a family event or an event with my friends coming up, having to beg and borrow my time with my job. I felt like my job always came first, and I had to make everything else fit around my job. Then there was the being, expected to be contactable 24/7. Granted, I didn't have that many calls in the night, but it still happened. And you were always switched on. Even when you got home, you were switched on. And I hear it's even worse than when I left retail, that the world of WhatsApp and messages are even 10 times worse than when I was in retail and in most recent years with Teams and WhatsApp and so forth. So you never feel like you get to fully switch off. And maybe when on holiday, I never felt like I could go away and actually really enjoy my holiday. That as well, with the lack of work-life balance and flexibility, job satisfaction, another thing that was just starting to eat away at me. Things within my store, constant cuts, processes dictated to me. I was used to being a leader. And as the years went on, I felt like I was just kind of doing the best I could. And the expectations of me I weren't able to deliver them anymore. And as time went on, that voice in the back of my head started to say, you need to start thinking about doing something different here. Is this all my life's going to be, is working in retail and always being stressed and tired and fed up and not enjoying my Christmases with my family? And it got to the point where I want to do something about it. Now, it coincided with a load of cuts that were being made in the retail company Sainsbury's that I work for. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, well, if you were just made redundant, Tom, it's not much of a retail escape. You ended up outside the door by being made redundant. Let me tell you this: it was very easy for me to go back into retail. I could have easily just gone and got another retail job. That was my comfort zone. That's what I'd done. But I was determined to use that redundancy situation as a chance to force myself to do something different. And let me tell you, it was the worst thing I could ever have done. So don't wait until redundancy hits you to finally do something about your retail career. This is a story about do not do what I did. It was painful. It's even harder changing careers when you don't have a job. And where I thought actually I could do something quite quickly because I'd have loads of time on my hands, it took me 6 months to figure out what it took to change careers. I hit the job search market straight after finishing my job at Sainsbury's. Hit the job search market, looked on job search websites, applied for anything that looked interesting, applied for over 100 jobs. How many did I hear back in? Absolutely none of them. Didn't hear back from any of them. And I probably applied for another 100 and then another 100 and nothing. And I started thinking, okay, yeah, maybe retail is all I can do. Maybe hiring managers just don't take retail experience seriously. Maybe I'm just going to have to go back into retail. But as I said, 6 months, I was determined to figure it out. And I tried different approaches. And probably the biggest one for me is I observed people that had successfully changed careers themselves, how they'd escaped retail. And this masterclass is a product of everything that I learned. And as I said, I guess cutting to the end of the story, because this masterclass is going to probably cover that in between career changing part of the process, and I won't go over it now. What happened after 6 months? I secured a job outside of retail. I landed a job that was an area manager at a charity in the UK. More work-life balance, Monday to Friday, job satisfaction. It was a charity. So like I say, I was store manager, moved up to area manager. So I'd got a promotion, and it was helping people back into work. So from a job satisfaction point of view, not to demean retail, because I absolutely do love retail, but I always look at it in my head is, baked beans on shelves or actually changing people's lives. And it was a complete transformation in a career. And it's only until you're on the other side you realize that actually there is thousands and thousands of other jobs out there that retailers can do, that industries are begging for retailers. It's easier to say that from my point of view now because I'm on the other side, but let me assure you that everyone on this call has developed some extremely valuable skills. You just need a better strategy to showcase them and show how you can show that to other employers. And that's what I'm going to show you today. So that's a little bit about me. A little bit about, since I guess to again cut a long story short, I changed careers, and everyone that I worked with previously in Sainsbury's wanted a piece of the action. They're like, how did you do it? Tom, people that still worked in retail, people that have been made redundant, they're all asking me how I came about doing it. And I started helping them. And one by one, I'd like to say I accidentally fell into becoming a retail escape specialist just by helping people that were in my network at the time do exactly what I did. And then a few years later, 200 people I'd personally helped escape retail, many more just through my content and other resources as well. But 200 I know of specifically in terms of reaching out to me and letting me know the good news. And this isn't just helping people start from the bottom and move into average jobs and just jobs maybe that better work-life balance, but taking a massive salary cut. These are jobs ranging from 30k to 130k. I've had directors, I've had head of stores, I've had many senior positions as well. So this isn't just helping people get into any old job outside of retail. And many of these jobs, to be fair, all of these jobs were all better circumstances. So all of you are going to be on this call wanting something. Some of you might want work-life balance. Some of you might want more flexibility. Some of you might be happy with the job conditions, but maybe want more job satisfaction. So whatever it is that you want, and whatever that means to you, there is a career out there that will offer it to you. And I'll show you how you can find those careers in this masterclass as well. So seeing a lot of you resonate with what I'm talking about so far. So we've got a few 18, 20 years, 23 years. I think 23, we're tied on 23 years of service in retail on this call this time around. Looks like a few of you resonating with not hearing anything back. Even corporate, to be fair, corporate jobs. I applied for quite a few jobs internally at Sainsbury's and was never successful. That's probably a bit more of a political thing, to be fair. They don't always like to take people from stores, even if they've got the experience, but that's for another masterclass, isn't it? So anyway, in terms of how you're feeling right now, when I looked back on what changed in my life in terms of how actually, I enjoyed retail. This isn't me knocking retail. I don't hate retail. I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for retail. But when I look back, I did notice what changed. And sometimes we don't realize this, but if you guys realize this now, it will help you in your career change. So when you first started in retail, how many of you, let me know how many of you started in retail straight out of school? Because that's exactly what I did. I joined retail straight out of school. And I only joined retail because I had no idea what I wanted to do. I wanted to earn a little bit of money. So I joined retail straight out of school until I figured it out. Did I ever figure it out? I never figured it out. 10 years later, I'd done a stint in retail and I still was no closer to what it is I wanted to actually do. And retail sucked me in. Let me know on the call how many of you were in that situation as well, that retail was a stopgap until you figured something out. And when I first started in retail, it was just to make a bit of money. And even when I earned my first couple of promotions from a management point of view, it was still, to be fair, building my lifestyle and having a better life. But as I said already, things started to change in terms of how I felt about my retail career. And it wasn't until I looked back that actually it was me that changed. So retail's always been retail. I'd always done long days. The job satisfaction probably was always there. I just overlooked it. I probably was always dictated. There was always probably red tape and things that kind of harm my job satisfaction, but I probably always overlooked it until I got to a point in my life when there were certain things more important in my life 10 years down the line than when I first started in retail. When I started in retail, I had no family. I saw my friends. When it got to 10 years down the line, I had a family, I had bills, I had a mortgage, I had a lifestyle to maintain. And my career was still very demanding. I got myself to a certain situation and then you're trying to balance the two. But the only thing that's changed in that equation is you and what's important to you. And that's probably why, and most of the time, that's probably why you're feeling dissatisfied. Who resonates with that? Who actually thinks maybe, it's not actually because retail's just got really bad in the last few years. Maybe you've just changed and what you want now doesn't align to the career that you've got. And that's a key bit about the masterclass today, is I'm going to give you a few tips on how you find careers that match you. And you might already know that, that's what's happened in this situation. So what do you want? Everyone's different. Everyone on this call probably wants something slightly different. So let me know in the chat, what do you want? What is retail not giving you? Some of the things that I wanted, as I mentioned in my my specific circumstances, when you walk out of work, you're done. I really wanted to just step outside my store and that was it. End of the day, like you see on TV with people working 9 to 5 and the clock goes and they go and it's done. No, not, you get home and then something's gone wrong at the store, or it's Christmas Day and there's an alarm call out. Just give me a break. I just wanted to leave and not think about work, but it was impossible. And then in terms of planning my time, I did not want to have to beg and borrow my time and plan my life around my work. And with annual leave, I just wanted to enjoy my annual leave and not be thinking about work or coming back to work and having to pick up everything that's gone wrong while I've been off for a few weeks. Another big one, especially as I had a family over that time, is getting to enjoy Christmas with my family, getting to enjoy that seasonal time. I did love Christmas in retail, but completely zonking out on Christmas Day wasn't probably the way I wanted to enjoy it. Job satisfaction, I mentioned that in terms of how things have changed in retail, and I didn't feel like I was utilizing my skills effectively. And then probably another one is regret. How many of you on this call expect to can see themselves doing a very demanding retail role as you get closer to retirement? I know it's probably not a thing to think about in terms of thinking about retirement, but I know a lot of store managers I've worked with over the years and retail managers just can't see themselves being in that high demanding role as they get older. And how long do you want to leave it before you get to that stage and do something different? Now is the right time to do it. If you're starting to think that it's time to change, you're only going to feel worse as time goes on. So what stops us? So I've mentioned all the things, and a lot of you, let's have a look for what some of you guys have put in the comments. So work-life balance, so some of you have got kids as well. Control, flexibility, make a difference, being challenged in a positive way, no weekends, 9 to 5, more pay, more autonomy, spend time with kids, work-life balance, body can't take it anymore. So there's you guys are definitely resonating with me here then. So what stops us? You guys have mentioned all this stuff that you want, and I mentioned all the stuff that I wanted, but what actually stops us? So probably the first one is we stop ourselves quite a bit. We get in our own way when it comes to changing careers, but you can't blame yourselves. I don't blame myself for maybe leaving it as long. I wish I had done something about my career situation much sooner, but looking back, there's a lot of reasons why we don't change careers. Firstly, a lot of you have said that you've joined retail straight out of school. You've only ever known retail. So trying to change careers when you've done 10 years or 23 years is going to be extremely difficult. It's hard to make that kind of change. Times have changed as well. So think about when you applied for a job. When I applied for my retail job, it was an old-fashioned put in a paper application type of job application, but things have changed. We live in a digital world now, and there's loads of different processes and loads of different things that wasn't in place when maybe we secured our last job externally. So times have changed, and that makes it difficult because there's a whole lot of different processes and things that we need to understand about the job market. And you've got more to lose. Things are tougher now. You've got a lifestyle. You don't want to lose that lifestyle, and you shouldn't be expecting to lose that lifestyle and what you've got. This isn't about taking pay cuts and expecting less around your life so you've got a better career. But you've got a lot to lose. So again, it makes it hard to change because you feel like you're risking it. You're probably surrounded by a lot of like-minded people that might feel the same way, but not doing anything about it. So sometimes who we surround ourselves with, which again, we spend most of our time at work, so they're all similar people, it's quite hard to make a change as a result. And probably one of the big ones for me, a bit of a pride thing. I was used to being the leader that people relied on, and there's me feeling a bit vulnerable because I wanted to change careers and I was struggling at it, and I didn't want to ask for help because I was used to people relying on me. And then probably the big one, and probably what a lot of people fall into, the reason why I do this masterclass, is a lot of the information out there is not for career changes. I read posts all the time on LinkedIn in terms of what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. And it's all geared up for people making the lateral moves in their careers, the physical next step that you can clearly see, going from a deputy manager to a store manager, going to a store manager to a regional manager. It's all the next step moves. No one tells you how do you make a career change into another industry. There's not a huge amount of information. And then the process we're advised to use, probably leading on from that in terms of, go get your CV done up and then jump onto a job search website and start applying. We're told to do these things, but are they the right things? So leading on for, are they the right thing? So how many of you on this call literally have gone, right, I'll get my CV or resume. You know, we've got quite a few people from the States. So resume, for those of you in the States, if you hear me say CV a few times, that's just because that's the word we use in the UK. And we've got some people from all over the world. I'm not too sure what terminology everyone uses, but how many of you got your CV or resume done up and hit the job market, jumped on a job search website, started scanning through the jobs that came up and was applying for anything that looked interesting? How many of you followed that approach? That's exactly the approach I followed when I started my career change process. How many of you have done exactly that? So yeah, we go. So we've got a few of you followed that approach. So let's start with the CV or resume. The challenge with our CV and resumes with that approach. So let me tell you this: most CVs never get read by a real person. So we hit the job search market, which the digital age has made the volume of people applying for jobs astronomical. So most vacancies out there right now get over 100 applicants, especially when you're going for more senior roles, maybe the kind of roles that that retail salary kind of commands. A lot of those senior roles out there get a lot of applicants. And as a result, employers have gone, right, so how do, you know, I'm not going to interview 100 people. So what do I do instead? Right, so I need to sift people out because I'm not going to interview 100 people. And this has created a problem for people looking to change careers. This has created a problem for retail managers looking to change careers because you've got 100 applicants, and some of those applicants could be retail managers. And what companies have gone and done, and you might have heard of it, is ATS. So ATS is basically, in my kind of simple terms for how I see it, is a robot that sifts through your CV and resumes to see how good a fit you are for the job. And the problem with that is, first thing, it's using industry words you probably don't have an insight on. So you're probably not going to have them on your CV and resume. So your CV might get sifted out at that point in time. Secondly, it might just be looking for certain keywords you don't know that should be top keywords on there. Or you could even just have the format of your CV wrong and it gets sifted out. But the problem is, with this robot doing a robot job, not a human job, that can't really pull apart a CV and see someone's transferable skills, it creates a real problem for a retail manager looking to change careers. So let me tell you this, I'd probably say 98% of every retail manager applying for some of these jobs, the CV probably never makes it in front of a real person. So there could be 100 applications. These automatic system, the robots, sift them all out and goes to the hiring manager. Right, now we've got 10 people we want you to review, and here's your short list. And now at that point in time, your CV, and this is why, have you ever had that kind of default, sorry, you've been unsuccessful email? It's a proper templated response. That's the robot. The robot's done that, and that's normally why you get that response. So the digital age has made things more challenging for people looking to change careers. There's also the issue with the CV itself, or the resume. It's very one-dimensional. It's very old. It's an old traditional type of method of self-selling ourselves that isn't really fit for the current age. And the problem is, everyone's told to use the CV and everyone's told to use their resume, and it's not an effective tool anymore. Yet we keep being told to use it, which I'll explain later what you should be doing instead. And again, let me tell you this. How many of you know people that don't work in retail? How hard is it trying to explain to you how tough it is working in retail to someone? You might be your friends, and you have friends that don't work in retail. Maybe you've got family that don't work in retail. How hard is it explaining to them what it's actually like working in retail? It's tough. So imagine trying to explain that to a hiring manager that you don't even know across on a CV, a 2-page CV. It's next to impossible. So our CVs in the traditional job search methods make it very hard to change jobs. Then there's the job description. So job description. So how many of you have jumped on a job search website, started reading through the job descriptions, and a job comes up you really like the look of, and you get to the bottom and it says you need this qualification, or this or this level of experience in the job? How many of you have gone there and then gone, okay, well, I don't have that, I'll move on to the next one? How many of you have been put off by a job description because it mentions qualifications or experience? let me tell you this. Who writes job descriptions? Have you have you ever written a job description yourself? Most of the time, job descriptions are written by a HR manager that probably doesn't know the role too much. And then let me ask you another question. How many of you on this call have been a hiring manager yourself? If you're a retail manager, as this call is aimed at, chances are you've probably done some recruitment or a lot of recruitment in your time. When you are recruiting, do you pull out the job description and only give the job to the person that ticked every single box on that job description? Because hands up, when I was a retail manager, I probably never even looked at the job description for the job that I was hiring for. If I was hiring for a deputy manager and another manager in my store, or even a colleague, I had an idea of what I expected in that candidate. I didn't need a job description to tell me. So I had an idea of maybe the top three skills, 4 things I wanted them to show me in an interview or on their application. And they'd be the people that would get the interview, and they'd be the people that get the job if they showed it interview. I never gave someone an opportunity because they ticked every single box on their on the job description. And then another thing is the job descriptions themselves. Who's a job description aimed at? Is it aimed at the person that's just left that job? Or is it aimed at the average person doing that job? Or is it aimed at the best possible candidate for that job? Of course, it's aimed at the best possible candidate. You're not going to try and recruit an average person for the job. But does that person exist? Does the perfect candidate exist? If they existed, if there was someone out there that matched every aspect on that job description, they'd already be doing the job. When you moved into the role that you're doing now in retail, was you ready for that role? Was you, if you're using an example, if you was a store manager, was you 100% competent when you became a store manager? Because I know I wasn't. I probably matched the job description as a store manager when I became a store manager about 70%. And then I gained the rest of the skills on the job, and I developed my competencies. So why do we apply logic that we've probably dealt with ourselves in our retail career when we're applying for jobs? We should never let qualifications, experience, and us missing a few things from job descriptions put us off from applying for jobs outside the retail. The issue is you're using traditional methods that don't work. But I'll explain later how you can overcome those challenges. But do not let some of the things on job descriptions ever put you off. And then another thing, most retail managers will be obviously looking for quite a senior role outside of retail because the salaries that retail roles command. And that presents a challenge in itself, because if you guys are only using job search websites that anyone can apply on, those 100 candidates they get, how many poor quality candidates do you think there actually is in all those 100? Probably some awful candidates. And employers view it that way. They view applications on job search websites as poor quality. So as a result of that, they don't give people a chance when they come through a job search website. If they come through other methods, maybe where they know a bit more about the candidate, maybe they've come from a recruitment agency, or maybe they've come through a referral within the company, or maybe they know of someone there and they can put a good name, a good word towards them. They perceive those as better quality candidates. But people that come through traditional job search websites and applying online, where you're just a faceless application, they view them as really poor quality. That one-click apply that you get on job search websites, it's a killer for how companies view candidates. Yet that's the main way that most people apply for jobs. So when you're going for a high salary role, the chances are you're never going to be interviewed, because someone's probably already landed the job because they know a bit more about one of those 100 candidates from various other means. So you're not even going to get a look in at all. And then on top of that as well, 80% of senior vacancies never make it online for that reason, because the cost of getting some of these senior vacancies wrong by doing poor recruitment, they sometimes don't even make it online, which I'll explain to you where they end up and how you can access them a little bit later as well. So you're only probably seeing 20% of the opportunities actually out there that's probably a kind of job that a retail manager would look to transition into. So, I've probably left you a bit deflated now with all the issues with the traditional job search market. Let me just kind of compound that one more time before we start moving on a more positive journey towards what you can do instead. So you literally have a 6% chance of securing a job using a traditional method, and that's only if every application was the same. If there's 100 people applying, obviously 10 people will be looked to get shortlisted, maybe 6 of those to get interviewed. So that's a 6% success rate, but that's a very general success rate. Like I said, from a retail manager point of view, you've probably not even got a 6% success rate. It's about a 1% success rate because of all the other issues you've got around your CV. Every application isn't treated equal. So it's even more difficult. So when you're sitting there going, I'm applying for 100 jobs, actually, you're probably having to apply for hundreds and hundreds of jobs just to even have a slim chance of securing an interview. So if traditional methods don't work, what works instead? So in terms of those traditional methods, there's 100 people that, I'll use this more of an analogy. There's 100 people applying for a vacancy, and 93 people out of those 100 are applying using probably the methods that you're using the traditional methods, applying online, using things like job search websites. So out of those 100 people, what are the other 7 people doing? And those other 7 people, let me tell you, 50% of all hires are coming from what those 7 people are doing. So going back to that example, 100 applications, 7 people are doing something different. So what are they doing differently? And let's have a look at what they're doing. So they're getting referred. Now, before you start switching off and going, right, well, I don't know anyone in other companies, bear with me. I'm going to explain a little bit more detail about why that's not a challenge for you right now. But let me just go into a little bit of detail why referrals. It might be a new concept for some of you. Some of you might have heard of getting referred into jobs. But this came about for me personally when I explored how people had changed careers themselves. So when I was stuck and was making no progress, like a lot of you are on this call, I examined people that had changed careers. And I noticed that everyone that had changed careers, and I'd say everyone, every single person that left Sainsbury's before I managed to secure a job outside of retail myself, they had all known someone at the company they went to. And believe it or not, it wasn't because they had a best friend in there or a real strong colleague. They might have had a loose connection, or maybe they'd had a real good conversation with someone. That's when I say referral, we're talking very loose connections as well. So 93% of people are applying online. Things like job search websites, social media, direct on the company's website. That's what I mean when I say apply online. But 7% of people are focusing on building connections and getting referred. And what that creates, sorry, I'm just going to make sure I'm keeping up with the comments because my phone's locked. Cool. So you've got 100 applicants, and probably we know that 7 people are focusing on getting referred. So those 7 people, wouldn't you rather be competing with those 7 people that are focusing on getting referred than the 100 people that probably aren't even getting a look in? So in terms of those odds, we've got 100 people, 93 of those people using traditional job search methods that we know don't work and have a very slim pickings, but we want to be in the pot of people that they're getting referred. And I'm going to show you how you do that on this masterclass. I'm not going to go through all the detail on this. This is more just a graphic that I put on here. But why do employers prefer referrals? So the first thing, they can put a face to the name. There's less risk involved. They're not going to get it wrong, and it's going to cost them a lot of money. There's someone that can give them a rough idea. If you've got, think of yourself right now as a retail manager hiring people, and let's say you've got 10 people in front of you, and 9 of those people are complete faceless applications that have come through a job search website. And one of those people that come through, one of your peers, maybe one person in your store, knows of them. That person spoke to me the other week about the vacancy. They sounded really, really competent on the phone. They sound really passionate and keen. Who are you gonna at least offer an interview to? The 9 people you know nothing about, completely cold email through a job search website, or one of your colleagues has had a good conversation in because they were inquiring about what it's like working at that company, and they sounded really motivated. Instantly, this is the level of referrals that we're talking about. We're not talking about rocket science and building strong friendships with people that's gonna get you into the job. It's actually someone that's just gonna maybe get you an interview because of putting a face to the name. And companies like that, they want to limit the risk and they want to find more about candidates. it saves them time and money. Again, like I say, they don't want to scroll through those 100 candidates. They might not even think about looking at those other 93 candidates. If they've got 7 people and they all know something about those 7 people, I'm not going to bother with the 93 people I know nothing about. I'm going to focus on those 7 people that I know a bit more about, because it's going to save me time, because I already know a bit about them. And I already know they're probably going to be a better fit because they've clearly made some effort to find out a little bit about my company and talk to a few people at my company. And it's the best way to secure senior roles. If I'm hiring manager, I'm gonna, it's gonna be a massive cost to me if I get it wrong. So I'm actually going to rather recruit someone that's been referred and someone's putting their name against them, or I know a bit more about them, because I'm less likely to get that recruitment decision wrong. Benefits to a job seeker, you guys on the call, in terms of getting referred, it's your best chance of securing an interview. Like I say, 50% of people secure job offers when they're getting referred, but it is your most likely way of securing an interview as a career changer, because it's helping you bypass those barriers that employers have put up to stop you getting an interview in the first place. It helps you stand out as well, because in a crowded job market and you don't have direct experience, if you're not getting referred, it's very difficult to stand out. Also, when you're getting referred, you're getting insider information. So you're understanding what you can put on your CV and what you can who you should be talking to within the company. So let me know in the chat. It's got a little bit quiet. Have I stunned you into silence? Who's heard of getting referred is the best way to change careers? Anyone, is that a new concept? Has people been told this is a good thing to follow? Are you a little bit unsure about how you go about doing it? I'm going to explain it as part of this call. But what's everyone's thoughts so far on what you should be doing instead of focusing on job search websites? Let me know in the comments. So in summary, before I start showing you what you should be doing instead and how you actually do it, if you focus your efforts on being referred, you're now only competing with 7% of the people with a 50% chance of success rate. So instead of competing with 100 people, you're now competing with 7 people with a 50% chance of securing a job. Now, don't you think those sound like much better odds than like the 1% chance that you probably have using the methods that you potentially have been using right now? So let's dive into how you do that. That's what you want to know. That's what you're here to join me tonight and find out. It might not be a new concept to some of you. So you might be thinking, I don't even know what to do, let alone find a referral. So in the first step of my process I'm going to go through tonight, I'm going to show you some quick ways to figure out some careers that you can do outside of retail quite quickly. You might be thinking, well, I don't know people in other companies. Why would a stranger refer me? I've already mentioned that this isn't talking about a strong relationship with someone. And I'm going to show you how you can build relationships with people, with complete strangers. So it doesn't matter if you don't know anyone. I don't expect any of you to know people at the companies that you might be targeting as a career change, but I'm going to show you how you can. And how can you get other employers to take your retail skills seriously? So I'm going to finish off with something that takes it above and beyond. I'm going to show you how you get referred, but there's one secret method that I like to use that completely seals the deal as a retail manager, and I'm going to walk you through. So what does it look like? 3 secrets, 3 parts of my process. Step 1, how to identify your dream companies that provide you with a career that you desire. So AK, we're going to come up with some target companies. Secret number 2, how to identify and network with career influencers at those target companies in order to secure a referral without feeling sleazy. So I'm going to talk you through, firstly, how to identify target companies that are offering the jobs that you want. Secondly, how you can start building and networking with people at those companies so they're more likely to refer you. But ultimately, how to create a retail value proposition that makes you irresistible to those people within that companies so they can see your transferable retail value. And that's not using a boring CV or resume. That's about going above and beyond, standing out from the crowd and doing something different that other people are not doing. And that's what I'm going to be showing you in the rest of this masterclass. So let's jump straight in. Secret 1, how to identify your dream companies that provide you with a career that you desire. So in the chat, I know some of you have done this already. What do you want your career to give you? What do you want? So some of you earlier on said work-life balance. What does that mean specifically to you? Because work-life balance to me could mean something to you. Some of you said job satisfaction. Again, what does that mean to you? Like, job satisfaction for me was probably a couple of things. I didn't feel like I had much autonomy in my role. I was dictated to in terms of how I should run my store, which I didn't like. So job satisfaction for me was lowered because of that. Also, I hated all the red tape, and probably finally, there wasn't much career progression. My regional manager wasn't going anywhere, so I was kind of stuck there as a store manager. So there was probably 3 reasons that my job satisfaction was low as a result. But let me know in the comments, what is it your career is not giving you? Now, I hate job search websites. I made that quite clear already in terms of they're not effective for a career changer. But what I love about job search websites is you can use it as your own job search Google. So when you jump on a job search website, how many of you jump straight into the what and you type in maybe manager? I hope you don't type retail manager in, but you probably type manager in and you look for maybe management jobs out there that you could do. And I could guarantee you probably a lot of retail jobs come up as you do that as well. One thing I love about job search websites is you don't have to put in job titles. You can put in skills and things that you want. And what it will do is it will find you careers that match the things you type into the search bar where it comes up with the most. So for example, if you type into the search bar Monday to Friday, it'll come up with jobs where Monday and Friday are in the job description. Obviously, that's quite a simple one. But what if you put in leadership? Instead of confining yourself, you're not defined by retail, you're defined by the skills that you've developed. So let's think about your skills. So leadership, put leadership in there and maybe mix it up a little bit. Leadership Monday to Friday. Then it'll bring up all the leadership roles where leadership appears quite often in the job title, and the leadership roles that are Monday to Friday. And to avoid the whole catch-22 of coming up with a ton of jobs that don't pay the salary you want, filter it to your salary as well. So, and all of a sudden you've created a career specification. So the issue we have is we jump on a job search website and we apply for anything that looks interesting. But if we go and buy a car, we know the specification before we go to a garage of the type of things we want that car to have. We don't just turn up a garage and go, yeah, I'll have that one. We turn up at a garage going, I want this engine size, I want this many doors, I prefer these colors. Yet when we approach to coming up with career ideas, we don't think about actually what we want it to look like. And if you start defining what it looks like in terms of maybe some of the skills that you possess that you want to take into that career and some of the actual things that you want that your current career doesn't give you, it's much easier to spot and find these careers. And I would use a job search website and just type in different keywords and it will bring up loads of ideas that fit you better instead of you trying to pigeonhole yourself into jobs that come up every so often. You'll find jobs that match you and your skills. So that's one of my top tips that I recommend you do. How many of you have ever tried that? Is that a new concept to you? Who's probably already started to jump into job search website and start typing in some different words? Type in customer service, type in leadership, type in change management, type in P&L, type in trying to come up with a ton of words here, but you probably get the point. Come up with your top skills and put them in. So when you do that, make a list of the companies, and I want you to take a note of 15 companies that are hiring for those jobs that come up. So ones that look interesting to you. One thing I'd recommend you do as well is focus on the smaller employers. So let me ask you this question. I want you guys to name a popular brand of fizzy drink. So let me know in the comments. Let me know a popular brand of fizzy drink that comes to mind when I mention about you naming one. So fire away in the comments. Popular brand of fizzy drink. Coke, yep. Get Coke, there we go. So I'm teeing you up for something, aren't you? But whenever we think about things, we always think of the bit, Pepsi. So it's Pepsi and Cola I'm looking for. I do get some random ones, especially when we've got people from Scotland. I get like Iron Brew and stuff like that coming up. But generally I get Coca-Cola and Pepsi. So when it comes to companies, we always think about the big brands. But did you know that only 1% of the employers out there employ more than 100 people? So when you guys start thinking about job companies you want to work with, the chances are you're leaving 99% of the employers off the table. So I would recommend also focusing on smaller employers as well, because there's lots less competition, because they won't be getting 100 people applying for those jobs. They might be only getting 10. So you've got better odds when you're applying for them. But if you're all focusing on those big brands, you're going to have more competition. So when you're coming up with your list of 15 companies, think about some of the smaller organizations in your area as well. And research them. Do they have the jobs that match your skills? Obviously, you're going to have to follow that job search website approach in a bit more detail. But you want to find out, do those jobs match the skills you're looking for, and do some research on those companies. Going back to job descriptions, I'm going to skip to the point just because I'm conscious of time. But if you match the job description 70% plus, then go for it. That's enough transferable skills in order for you to secure the job, but enough change that actually you are making a significant change. So if you read down a job description when you're coming up with those ideas, as long as you match about 70%, go for it. Don't rule yourself out. Doesn't matter if they say it's required, we require this qualification. Heck, I see so many store manager jobs that require, say that they need qualifications. And I probably met about 2 store managers in my life that had qualifications, and they'd got that before they became a store manager anyway. It's just what people put as requirements. It doesn't mean that that's what's required to do the job. So step 1, in summary, use a few of those techniques. There's only so much I can cover on one call. I could go on all day, as you can probably tell, but make a list of 15 companies. Secret number 2. So how are we going to start creating advocates at these companies in order to secure a referral? So, networking is such a dirty word, and I haven't used the word networking yet, but effectively it is networking with people in these companies to create an opportunity for them to refer you. But let me just tell you this, networking should not feel awkward. It should not feel like a dirty word, especially when it comes to networking with people on LinkedIn working at these companies. And the reason for this is, firstly, people on LinkedIn, because it's a network. So, how many of you have maybe reached out to me before, or maybe, I've connected with you? It's what we're on LinkedIn to do, to connect with people. But networking should never feel like something, bad that you're doing when you're reaching out with people with a purpose of maybe building a relationship as part of that networking. Think of you walking down a street, and, let's say you're in a new town, and you just can't find your destination. You're trying to find a certain place. You ask someone in the street for help, don't you? You say, how do I get to this place? How many people, refuse to help you, just completely blank you? They don't. Some people might say, sorry, I don't know. I'm not sure. I can't help you. But there will always be someone that will help you and point you in the right direction. I've not gone to a town yet that's against people to not help. And that's what networking is. Instead of asking for directions, you're asking for directions around your career. How did you come about doing what you're doing in your career? What's it like working at this company? You're just asking for directions in relation to your career instead of travel directions. And when you're speaking with people in these companies, so like I say, identify them on LinkedIn. It's easy to go on to LinkedIn, go find the company profile, and then literally find the person that's maybe doing the job that you're interested in, or potentially find the hiring manager. They put a lot of hiring managers on as well. But you want to speak to people at these companies that you're interested in working at, and be interested to find out how they've come about doing what they're doing. A real pro tip is there is a retail manager in every single company out there. So what you can do, a real good helpful tip when it comes to LinkedIn, is when you find someone on, let's say you want to work at, some of you in the US won't know this company. So I've just been working with someone that wanted to work for British Gas, which is a utilities company, provides electric and gas here in the UK. I'm sure there's something very similar in the US. And they wanted to work there. They'd identified becoming a customer experience manager at British Gas. And literally all they did was find British Gas's profile on LinkedIn, look at the people that are working there because it lists all the people working there. They found a customer experience manager working at British Gas. And then what you can do is you can also apply a filter to look at past companies, and you can easily find people that used to work in retail. You just select a ton of former retail companies in your country, and it'll come up with people that work at British Gas that used to work in retail, and they'll be the best people to reach out to first. You've got a connection with them. They've made the transition, and I can guarantee you'll find people that work at your target companies that used to work in retail, and they're probably doing roles that you might be interested in. So they're good people to reach out to. How many of you on this call have gone out there and actually had a conversation with someone in retail that's made a similar career leap that you're looking to make? because it's so easy to find them on LinkedIn. And they're going to, we've all worked, once you've worked in retail, we're part of you're part of a certain membership. Unfortunately, you never get out of. Whenever I walk into a retail store, I still get annoyed by certain store standards. There's things that annoy me. But once you've worked in retail, you've always worked in it, and you're always going to be open to helping other retailers, especially if they're reaching out to you and asking you for help. Some of you are saying no, you've not reached out to people. Reach out to people. Come up with your 15 target companies. Go onto LinkedIn, look at the company profile, filter the search to people that used to work in retail. And there you've got now a ton of list of people. They might have even worked at your current retail company. I find tons of people that used to work at Sainsbury's, at various companies that I'm looking and working with people I've worked with over the years. And I'm like, oh, I used to work with them. I know them. And now they work for this complete random company. There's retail managers everywhere, and they're the best people to reach out to first. And having these conversations with people in other companies is the way that you can access jobs that never make it onto job search websites. So, let's say that you want to be an operations manager. I'm going to use British Gas just to keep it simple. So let's say I want to be an operations manager at British Gas, like I say, utilities company. And it's a Monday to Friday role, pays very similar to a retail salary. And I'm going to network and reach out to, they maybe have 10 operations manager at British Gas across the country in the UK. And I'm going to reach out to those people doing that job. And when I reach out to them, I'm going to get a good insight about the job. But having a conversation and finding out about how the job is, firstly, it aligns whether or not it's the right job for me, because I'm speaking to real people doing the job. So it removes that fear, the chances of making a mistake. But also I'll get insight in terms of what needs to appear on my CV, what kind of skills are needed. Is it realistic that I'm going to be able to land that job? But secondly, you can access jobs from speaking to these people. The amount of times I've had people I've worked with over the years, and this is exactly what happened to me, is I'm reaching out, I'm having real conversations with people, and they let me know that something's coming up, maybe a potential vacancy is coming up. And instantly, you might have access to a job that's never made it online. And this is how you access them. If you, how many of you on this call has ever heard of the hidden job market or the secret job market? A few phrases are coined over the years. But that is how you access that job market. It's a job market that's hidden because it never makes it online. But those vacancies are there, and they are accessed by people, where people having conversations and really building a connection with people at the companies they want to work with. The reason why I want you guys to target 15 companies is it keeps it concise, it keeps it focused. Go out there, speak to 10 people at each of your 15 companies, and I can guarantee you will get an opportunity presented to you. A lot of people do this with Masterclass, take away the learnings and not put it into practice. And I can guarantee you guys right now, I've given you a strategy that works. You go out there, speak to 10 people doing close to the jobs that you want to do in these companies, you will get a referral. I can promise you that it will happen. The problem is people don't go out there and put the work in. And like any kind of free masterclass is only as good as actually doing something with it. So a little bit of a challenge for you guys. Don't be the person that does it and then in a year's time go, I wonder if I did actually make the effort to reach out to 10 people and have conversations with people, if it would have worked. So to give you an example of how this works, so one of my former clients, so Martin, he used to work in a retailer here in the UK, and he used this exact same process to land his dream job in HR. Had no HR experience apart from being a retail manager and dealing with obviously a lot of HR situations. Managed to land a HR role Monday to Friday without taking a pay cut. Mine had his doubts about networking. So I remember when working together, he reached out to me and said, look, I've spoke to a few people, Tom, and they just, they're telling me that I need certain qualifications. Obviously with HR, it's a CIPD in the UK. I'm not too sure if it's exactly the same in the US, but it needed certain qualifications. Didn't have all the experience required for the job. I've never done HR, and he wasn't really getting the right answers when he was reaching out to people doing HR roles. But when I'd spoke to him, he had only reached out to about 10 people and had about 3 conversations with people. So I told him to reach out to more people. I said, look, don't take it as gospel, reach out to more people. You've only reached out to 10 people. That's only a minuscule amount of people when you want to work in HR. So you reached out to over 40 people. And having reached out to 40 people and actually had real conversations, in total, we probably had about 6 conversations following that. So not, again, huge amounts, but it was still 3 times the amount he'd had previously. And one of those people knew about a vacancy coming up. And this is just a message that Martin sent me in terms of how he's finding it. And I guess probably, again, and probably the one that hits me home, you saved me from the horror. Probably it was quite bad for Martin when he was looking to change careers. But do not leave it to the point when you are absolutely hating things to do something about it. So what if you're reaching out to people? What if you're doing it? Maybe you've done this before. So who's on this call is going to start having getting out of their comfort zone and reaching out to people and having conversations? Let me know. For those of you in the comments, let me know who's going to start doing this. Who thinks it's a great idea? Who's going to get uncomfortable and make this happen? So what do you do if you don't get a referral? What if you're having these conversations and it does not lead to a referral? And that's what Secret Free is all about. How do you prompt a referral? How do you make one happen? How do you turn those conversations into an actual concrete job offer or a potential opportunity? And that is creating a retail value proposition. And this is completely different to a CV, completely different to a resume. This is about highlighting your transferable skills for the industry that you're targeting. So I've already mentioned already tonight how difficult it is explaining to people we know what it's like working in retail. Imagine explaining it to a hiring manager. And this is what it's all about. So when, I guess being hiring managers on this call, are you looking for a person, or are you looking for a solution to a problem? And that's what hiring managers are looking for. Although, we all say, we're all numbers when we work in a job. But in fact, every job exists to solve a problem. Whether or not it's a customer service assistant sitting on the checkout or filling shelves, they are all problems that a company has. And we need to look at it that way when we're retail managers. What problems can we solve for other companies? How can the problems we solve in retail, how can we solve similar problems for them? So to give you an example, with a client I've worked with recently, that I was mentioning at British Gas, that was a customer experience manager and going for that job. Customer experience manager, they've been a store manager. They know customer experience of their stores like anything. So everything they did in their retail job, they could easily apply to a customer experience manager at another company. And it's about how do you show that? How do you get that across in more than just your boring CV and resume, which literally is a chronicle order of your career to date? Because that's all it is. It's a list of things you've done in your career. But how do you show British Gas why you would be a perfect fit for them and their job? And that's what a retail value proposition is about. It's about showing how you're a solution to their problems. And ultimately, again, a big mistake people make is, you guys from a retail perspective, some of you could be making thousands and thousands of pounds for your stores. How many of you have saved your company or made your company, thousands, maybe even millions? I know it's one of my top achievements from retail, where I helped Sainsbury's make an extra £1 million worth of sales in one of the roles I did. How many of you guys have made some massive gains for your companies? And this is about showing how the value you delivered for your retail company, how you can add that value to the company that you're joining. If you want a 60k a year job, you've got to show how you can offer them more than 60k of value each year. You can't do that in your CV. It's very hard to do. How can you show a complete random industry how you would make them money or save them money or improve their efficiencies that ultimately save them money? And that's what a retail value proposition is going to help you do. So what is it? So think of a speculative approach. You've probably all heard of sending a speculative email, but again, the same problem with that is one-dimensional. It's an email that, again, can be taken very different ways. Think of your own personal portfolio. Could be 1 to 7 slides on a PowerPoint presentation, but aimed at that target company specifically. And it outlines who you are specifically and why you think you'd be a perfect fit for their role based on your own transferable skills. So think about, little bit about you, and then you've obviously been speaking to some of the people within the company, so you would have got a bit of an insight about maybe some of the challenges they face. Maybe you've done some research. So going back to the customer experience role, you could go down the job description and go, right, okay, so these are the kind of things they're looking for me to do. Okay, here's 3 things that I've done in my store to improve the customer experience. So here I can talk about, for British Gas, some case studies of what I've done. Or you might identify, so a good thing around British Gas is if you go on a company review website, so in the UK it's Trustpilot, I'm not too sure if it's the same in the States, but we've got Trustpilot. You search for British Gas on there and there is thousands and thousands of customer complaints, and clearly this customer experience manager is going to be helping them with that. So what they could do is they could do a case study on how they could help British Gas based on the feedback on those Trustpilot reviews based on their research. How much better is that? You're going to send this company a portfolio. And to be fair, I'd actually been a victim. I don't know if that's the right word, but someone had used the same approach on me when I worked in retail. When I was a store manager, I had someone come for a team leader role, and they sat in front of me and they got this ring binder out. You know, we're going back a bit now with ring binders. Got a ring binder out, and they had an analysis of my store in a ring binder. They'd done a customer walk, they'd made some solutions, they'd identified some problems. I offered them a job. I don't even remember what they said at the interview. I was like, wow, this person's clearly taken some time. This is effectively what it is. You know, I was bamboozled by this and didn't even think much of it at the time. But this is effectively what you need to do. And let's say you're having conversations with people. Let's say you're having conversations with 10 operations manager in your dream company that you want to work for, and none of them are leading to a referral. You create a real good proposition. It doesn't take a huge amount of time. It's still better than applying for 100 jobs and hearing nothing back. And you send it to them. And you know, ideally, if you want to go for an operations manager role, you ask them to send it on to the hiring manager. Then who's their boss? You know, is it the senior operations manager? Can you send this on to them? And they're going to get that. And let's say they have a vacancy. Ideally, you want to be targeted and obviously know there's a vacancy, which is why you guys are going to use job search websites to use this to spot potential vacancies and generate ideas. But if you can get that in the hands of the hiring manager, and then you know maybe a vacancy comes up, or a vacancy is already up there, and you know it's online, but you've got it through to the hiring manager by having conversations in the company. They've got 100 people, and you're the only one that sent them a portfolio of how you can make a difference to their company. Who's getting an interview? You know, let me know in the comments. What do you guys think about a retail value proposition? It is literally the single best-handed process I've ever used. You know, you don't even need to have huge amounts of networking conversations. If you know there's a vacancy and you've had a few good conversations with people that lead to a point where you can get them to pass on something to the hiring manager, or you've spoken to the hiring manager, you know, the hiring manager's on the job listing that you want to go for, you could put this together, send it to the hiring manager. Again, they might have 100 applicants, but I can guarantee, apart from if you're coming up with some other people on some of my masterclasses, you're probably the only person sending this portfolio, and you're going to stand out from the crowd. You're going to get an interview at least, and then it's down to you to obviously nail that interview. But it's the single-handed best process that I've used with people to actually bypass the application stage and get an interview that way. It gives the company what they want. You know, they're getting someone that's motivated, that's going above and beyond, showing something different. So the best candidate. It helps you bypass those issues with the robots that are scanning and sifting out CVs. Like I say, it works effectively when you're using it with someone that you've had a conversation with in the company, because you know it gets to the right person, and effectively it's come through by someone that you've been having conversations with. So you're going to stand out as a result. So how do you build your retail value proposition? You know, I'd always recommend start with the job description. The job description will give away a lot of things they're looking for this role to achieve. And you can use that information to build together a retail value proposition. Scan through, work out what you think are going to be the top 3 challenges, and talk about how those top 3 challenges you've solved in your retail role. Speak with people in the company, find out some of the challenges. You know, if you're speaking to those 10 operations managers, when you have conversations with them, ask them what their biggest challenges within the industry or within their roles right now. Then you could use that as a point of conversation in your retail value proposition. Or as the example I've used already, you could jump on customer feedback sites and look at what customers are saying. Yeah, just a few examples. There's hundreds of other ways you can build the content need for your retail value proposition. But they're some of my top tips that you can go and do. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about the retail value proposition? Ever heard of any similar concept before? Yeah. Can you see how something like this will help you stand out from the crowd and actually show hiring managers your retail value that you can't really get across on your CV? So let's go back from a summarize for a bit. So if we think back to the 100 people applying for a job, we know 93 people of those 100 are using ineffective job search methods like companies' websites, job search websites, agencies, and so forth. 93 faceless applicants. But what if you were the only one sending a retail value proposition? Let alone potentially having conversations with people within that company that might put in a good word for you as well. Can you see actually how you can stand out from the crowd of 100 people just being slightly different to all those faceless applications and people just following the crowd? And this is what it means in terms of the actions I've covered through these secrets, in terms of the volumes that you've got to deliver. So 15 target companies, speaking to 10 people at each of those target companies, you're going to have 150 conversations. Believe it or not, you could do you could reach out to 10 people a day for 15 days and it's done. You can do that in half an hour a day. Although it seems like a big number, it doesn't take a huge amount of time. When you reach out to 10 people at each of those 15 target companies, be prepared and don't let it put you off. You're probably only going to get 3 out of 10 people reply to you if you're lucky, maybe even less. So, the numbers I've put on here are the average numbers that people have with this. 15 target companies, 150 connections might lead to about 30 physical conversations on a telephone call with them. Those 30 conversations will probably lead to 10 referrals, especially if you're backing them up with a retail value proposition. But the conversion rate from that to interviews is very, very high. And again, I can guarantee if you guys have got 6 interviews lined up, you're going to get some job offers because retail managers, know how to ace interviews. And, I bet you guys would say to me right now, Tom, if you can get me in front of a hiring manager, I know I could wow them and secure the job. So these are the kind of numbers that you're looking to achieve through those steps that I've covered. So who's up for it? Who's going to go away and do this? Who's going to go out there, find 15 target companies, have 150 conversations, and have 150, reach out to 150 people and aim to have 30 conversations. You follow these numbers and these are the average results that you expect. And like I say, we're not talking about a huge amount of times. 150 connections. You can do 10 a day over 15 days. That's going to be, you're not going to be spending any more time than what you're wasting using ineffective job search websites, and you're actually going to get results from it. So let's summarize. If you follow what I've shown you in secret 1, and you've identified companies you'd like to work for, so you're a lot more focused, not being broader. It's your chance to stand out from the crowd because you're being focused. Then you did what I showed you in secret 2 and started connecting and building relationships with people at those specific companies. Much easier to do because you're only focusing on 15. Then you used secret 3 and went above and beyond and showed them your transferable retail value by using a retail value proposition. Can you see how you can be successful? Guys, let me know. What do you think in the comments? And you see now how there's actually a better strategy than what you're using now. So that is an overview of what you need to do to firstly stand out from the crowd in order to secure a job outside of retail, what you have to do to showcase your value in order to secure more senior jobs that are going to pay the salary that you want. But also what you have to do to actually stand out from the crowd in a crowded job market. And what I mentioned before is, there's only so much I can cover in a masterclass. Again, I always run over. I'm already running over slightly, but hopefully you guys have found the content really useful. But there's so much more that I could cover. So many more tips I can share. There's so many ways that you can build on what I've shown you tonight. So if you guys feel like you need more support and feel like actually, I need a bit more meat on the bones, I'm going to need more help. I'm going to spend the next 10 minutes just talking about how I can help you further if you need more support beyond this masterclass. So I'm going to jump straight into my Retailscape Academy, which some of you might have heard of. And this pretty much dives into a lot more detail, a lot more hand holding than what I've covered on this masterclass. Same kind of process, but obviously you can tell there's so much more to cover. I've given you something you can go away and do, and people join this masterclass, implement what they've learned from the masterclass, and change careers. You'll see it in the testimonials to the masterclass sign up that you signed up for this. There's people that have gone and done that. But there's some people that know they need a bit more support, which my academy is there. It's the all-in-one resource that covers everything you need to successfully change careers, and everything that I've learned in the last 5 years of helping people change careers. Who's it for? So, again, some of you might be still going, oh, Tom, I'm going to really struggle to come up with career ideas. It's great I can come up with 15 companies, but I'm so far away from thinking, knowing what I want to do. So the Retailscape Academy is perfect for someone that does not know what they want to do, because I cover off a lot. I've given you one tip, but there's so many different ways to help you generate realistic career ideas that you can do outside of retail. You might have an idea of what you want to do, but you've been struggling to land it. So I walk you through in a lot more detail and walk you through in a more detailed step-by-step process of how you can use that Retailscape funnel and how you can obviously build relationships. I give you templates, how you actually use the Retailscape funnel to secure that job. Or you might be in both worlds. You might not know what you want to do, and you might have struggled to actually secure jobs outside of retail. So that's who the academy is for. The first thing you get with the Retailscape Academy is one of my signature courses, so the Career Idea Generator. This Career Idea Generator will walk you through how to generate 30 plus career ideas outside of retail. So I've shown you one of the techniques within that Career Idea Generator tonight in terms of a good tip. There's loads of other techniques that I walk you through as part of that course in order to generate career ideas outside of retail. Give you that clarity. That's the big one. Actually going, is this the right career move for me? Is this something that's going to really be worth making a career change for? And that's by the end of the Career Idea Generator, you will have a list of ideas, and then I'll help you narrow them down to one career idea that you're going to proceed with. And that's using a number of different creative techniques to come up with those ideas. And they're all career ideas that will give you the things you want, but also without having to sacrifice your salary. They're jobs that are a perfect fit for you, instead of you trying to pigeonhole yourself into other jobs. Then something I've not covered massively, because obviously it's more of a tick box part of the career change process based on what I've shown you tonight. But you still do need an effective CV and resume and the documents that go with it, because in some aspects you still will need to put an application in. You still will need to present your CV and resume. So I walk you through how you can completely upgrade your marketing materials so they don't get sifted out by the robot sifting your documents, how you can actually showcase your skills in a much better way than traditional CVs without obviously on top of the retail value proposition. And LinkedIn, most companies now also check out your LinkedIn profile. How do you align your LinkedIn profile, and how do you use LinkedIn more effectively in order to secure job opportunities? So the academy comes with self-marketing mastery. Then there's my other signature course, which is the Job Offer Blueprint, which effectively is an overview of what I've taken you through tonight, but in much more detail. So I talk you through how you actually build that dream list of employers in more detail than what I've covered tonight. I give you proven strategies to get people to actually reply to you. I walk you through specifically how you find the right people how do you find the hiring manager? How do you find the right people to talk to? How do you turn them into an advocate? I go into much more granular detail, step by step, providing you with templates of how you can message people, what kind of templates work with people, how you structure the conversation when you get them onto a call. How do you, what do you say to them? What questions should you be asking? How do you build your retail value proposition? So this course also covers, it has the template from the retail value proposition I used when I escaped retail, with the template I use with my clients to show them the best outline for a retail value proposition. And I talk you through how you build that step by step and how you find the information to put into it. Again, we've not covered it massively. How to ace your interview. So it doesn't matter if you get in an interview, you still got to nail it and get over the final hurdle. So I'll walk you through some of my top techniques to secure a job offer for any industry. We overcomplicate the interview process, and some of you may have not been for an interview for years and years. So I'll walk you through how you can ace your interview for any company in any industry. So those are the key 4 modules. On top of that, it's a lifetime resource. I'm always updating it every single year. As I said, when we first joined retail, the application process was different to what it is now. And I'm imagining in 5 years' time, things would be very much different. Once you join the academy, it will be continued to be updated with whatever works in the here and now. So you might be thinking, I'm going to change careers. Yeah, I'm going to work on it in the next year. Well, you sign up now, those resources will still be up to date come a year's time with whatever works in the industry right now. You might be thinking, I don't have a huge amount of time to work on my career change right now. Like I say, it's lifetime access. You can dive in and take action and work through your career change at your own pace. One of the big challenges retail managers face, and I face, is knowing if you're saying the right things, knowing if your CV is laid out the correct way, knowing if your retail value proposition is laid out the correct way. So I provide template scripts, but I make it step by step for you in the academy. So you can take the thinking out of it and just use my tried and tested approaches with every step, from your CVs to your cover letters to your resumes to your retail value propositions. In terms of your interview prep, I provide templates for everything. Another challenge you might face is staying committed, staying motivated, keeping on top, or reaching a challenge. Going, you could sign up for a course and it's very one way. Most courses, you watch the videos or take in the content, do the action, and that's it. You're kind of out there on your own. But what I provide with the Retailscape Academy is a private VIP community where you can always dive in, and that's where I'll always be on hand to help with any specific questions, but other Retailscapies and people that have also escaped retail in there to support and guide you as well, and to make it even more step by step. So again, I can guarantee that most of you watching this masterclass, you've designated some real quality time this evening to your Retailscape. But time is of the essence. You don't have time to waste, and you probably don't have that much time in the first place. So what I've done is also created a 12-week Retailscape plan, which is step-by-step and actionable, that runs along the videos as well, because you might not have time to watch video content. Maybe you would much rather work through specific written workbooks at your own leisure in the evenings, or while you're at work, or while you're on your phone, or while you're commuting, and so forth. So here's all the amazing value. So, it's stacking up massively here in terms of the value, but there's more that I offer within the academy. Not only do I show you how to do everything, but you can also submit everything to me for a critique. So you could do your CV and resume based on how I walk you through how to create the perfect CV and resume, and you can submit it to me, and I will record you a critique on how you can make it even better. You could record yourself working through the interview techniques, and I will give you techniques on how you can improve your interview skills. Or you could send me your retail value proposition you've created for a company, and I can tell you how you can improve it. So there's so much more hands-on support where I can guide you every step of the way. On top of that, something that people find extremely useful as well is you get a coaching session with me as well. This is if you get stuck and you've started working through the content. I don't want you getting stuck and then not progressing. I want you guys to succeed in escaping retail, and you get a one-to-one with me that you can use at any point in time. So you just say, Tom, I'm stuck. Let's jump on a call and I'll help you overcome those challenges with specific guidance for you and where you are. And as I mentioned, I lay everything out on a 12-week Retailscape plan. So huge amount of value that you get with this, but you're probably guessing you ain't going to be paying this. You get a lot of value in my academy. I pride myself on offering something that's affordable for everyone looking to change careers. As you can tell, I've escaped retail myself. I love what I do. Tons of people I've helped go into various different roles, with some of obviously the success stories on here. And as you will look on my masterclass, my website, the testimonials, I've helped hundreds of people over the last few years. You go on my LinkedIn profile, look at comments people have left on there as recommendations as well. There is success waiting for you guys. You've just got to take action and do something about your career situation. And why not learn from someone that's been there, done that, and been through the pain for you in order to show you how to do it. So what if you left this masterclass tonight with a tried and tested strategy that would guarantee you interviews? I've given you an insight into it. Obviously, there's much more to it. What would it be worth to you? Would it be the cost of maybe a holiday? What if you secured a job that you didn't need a holiday to escape from? If you wanted to work one-to-one with me, you'd be looking for a similar result, that you get with the academy for $2,000 or more, but you won't be paying that. So in terms of the academy, you get all that value, all the modules that will walk you through, all the guides, all the step-by-steps, the bonus time, the amount of one-to-one time. And right now, my academy is open. I only take people on in cohorts because there's quite a lot of one-to-one support from me within that. So it is now open between now and Sunday. And if you join now, you guys have devoted a lot of quality time with me this evening. And it shows that you want to take action. And if you are an action taker, if you head to the link, the retailescapeproject.com/replay and use offer 20 as the discount code, you can secure all that value, all that support for 496. And some of you might have looked into changing careers before. I can guarantee and I can promise you, everything that's on here is the cheapest you'll find from any random person out there that helps people change careers. But you're going to be learning from a Retailscape specialist. So not just someone that's just a random career coach. People are charging 3 or 4 times more the price for similar, even just doing CV rewrites or doing career idea generating techniques and helping you come up with career guidance. You're getting everything that you need to escape retail for a fraction of the price of what everyone else is charging for a similar result. But even better, it's tailored to a retail manager. My Retailscape Academy, you can buy it anytime on my website for £620. But obviously, you guys have spent quality time with me. You've shown that you wanted to take action. The reason why I offer the special, I'll be completely transparent. The reason why I offer the special price through cohorts through my masterclass is because I don't want people signing up and not taking action. I don't get testimonials. I don't, get messages of success from people saying they've escaped retail if they just join it and they've not shown that they're willing to take action. People sign up for courses all the time and do nothing for it. But you guys have joined me tonight, and I want it to be something where you continue that. You've joined tonight, you've spent some quality hours, and I want you to go away from it and do something with it. Whether or not you just take action on the masterclass and message me in a few weeks' time and say, I've done something with it, I've changed careers, or I've made some traction. Great. Or I know I need a bit of support. You're making, you're really spelling it out for me, Tom, in terms of how you take people through the step by step. I'm going to sign up and I'm going to do something about it. I only want action takers joining, which is why, be transparent. I want to make it a no-brainer for you. You could buy this at any time, but obviously there's a higher price for it. But if you're in the mood right now and you're going to do something about it, it's time to do something about it and follow someone that's taking you through a step by step. And there's no risk to it. So if you go and take action, so you've got to prove you've taken action. You can't just sign up for this and then say, Tom, I didn't get results, I want my money back. You've got to take action. But I do offer a 30-day money back guarantee. So if you watch the videos, you take action and you can show me that you've got no results as a result of taking that action, then have your money back. I want testimonials of success. I want to help people. If this hasn't been the right fit for you, or you haven't got results, although I know that you're going to get results if you actually take action, it's no risk to you. You can have your money back. I ain't going to question you. At the end of the day, I want people successfully changing careers. If it's not worked for you, then and you've taken action, then have your money back. But I know if you take action, you're going to get results. So it is going to be a win-win situation. But there is that guarantee if you need something to fall back on. £496 in the current climate is quite challenging. So I do offer payment plans as well to make it even more affordable. And obviously, if you get it over a 6-month period, some people pay more money for their monthly gym membership they probably don't do anything with than the price of a life-changing and lifetime access career change program that you can work on to successfully change careers. So I make it as affordable as possible for you guys if you use the offer 20 discount code. I only take 20 people on at once. So whatever happens sooner in terms of 20 people coming on, that will be the maximum that I'll be taking on, because as you can see, I provide a lot of support and I don't want to take on 100 people and then not give people the time that I need, because they might be reaching out to me. They want to book their coaching call. They want me to critique documents. I want to help onboard them, help them overcome their challenges. I can't do that in huge groups of people. So between now and Sunday, whatever comes sooner, the first 20 people, or the doors close on Sunday. So only 20 spaces available. And we've had about 200 people register for this masterclass in total. So let me know in the comments whether or not you're just going to take action on this masterclass or you feel you need a bit more support. Who is going to become a retail escapee? Commitment in the comments. Social proof, social commitment, because this will be this is recorded. It's going to be there. Who's going to be escaping retail? Let me know in the comments. So you've got 3 choices from this masterclass. Do nothing with it, stay in retail, try and do it on your own, which again, completely possible, but can still be quite challenging with the amount of challenges that are faced with in changing careers. Or who's going to have everything handed to them in order to successfully change careers by signing up for the academy? Which choice are you going for? So that brings us to the end of the masterclass. So obviously mentioned, the offer 20 code before Sunday. You can do that going to the Retail Escape project. In terms of the lucky giveaway winners, so let's have a look. I pressed the wrong button. Pressing the wrong button, never good. So who's still with us? Fire away in the comments. Let me know who's still with us. Who's going to be... we've got a few people here. So in terms of, I guess, picking some of the random people that stay till the end. Oh, we got, comments away. Nelson is the winner of the CV and resume critique. Tim has got access to the career idea generator, and Daniel has got access to the job offer blueprint. So thank you guys for staying until the end this evening. And you will all get access in the next 24 hours or an email to confirm how you take advantage of winning the giveaway. So well done to the 3 of you for those giveaways, and I will email you. I've got your email details for signing up to this masterclass with everything you need to do, and I'll get that out to you within the next 24 hours. So well done, guys, for staying on to the end. Also, obviously, some of those bits are included in the academy. So if you want to take advantage, you can also upgrade with an additional saving on cost as well, should you want to. So feel free to let me know if you're interested, if you're going to take part in the academy and want to take that off the price of the academy on top of that. So Q&A. This is a chance I kind of just stay on now until I don't get any more questions. So has anyone got any questions? I'm just monitoring the chat in terms of any questions you might have that I've not covered. And if so, what kind of things would you highlight in your retail value proposition? So if it's in terms of highlighting about yourself, kind of more simple stuff in terms of why you're interested in their specific company, why you're interested in their specific industry. If your question is more tailored in terms of what kind of content do you put there in relation to what you're showing them from your retail experience. So I'm a big fan of either case studies, so put a bit more meat on the bone on terms of maybe 3 specific things that you think is relevant to them. So, you take out 3 top things from your CV or resume that you think is completely, 3 things you really want to tell them about yourself where you can add value to their company, and maybe just talk about a case study. Or it could be if you've found out, and this is more from if you've had conversations with people within their industry, if you found out 3 challenges. So when I escaped retail into welfare to work for a charity that helped people get back into work, their biggest challenge, having spoken to people, was that they didn't get enough referrals. So not enough people from the local job centre in the UK through to this program. So then I spoke about actually from the skills I developed around stakeholder engagement on how I build relationships with people in terms of like external stakeholders and I talked them through how I would use those skills to build relationships. So that's probably maybe 2 tips in terms of the retail value proposition. So what skills should be in your CV that easier overlooked? So when it comes to your CV and resume, a lot of people think it should be about themselves, but it's never that at all. It's about the company and the job that you're going for. So although your CV is like a self-marketing document, it's got to speak the language of the hiring manager. So when you ask me the question, what skills should be in the CV, what you should be asking instead is, what skills would that employer be looking to see on your CV? And obviously, if you're using the approach that I showed you at the start of this masterclass in terms of generating ideas that are a good fit for you, the chances are, the skills you've got will match their job. So I would recommend, as a top tip, go for the job descriptions for the jobs that for the job you want to go for, and pull out the key skills, and they should be the ones that appear most regularly on your CV. So yeah, it should never really be about what skills that you have. Believe it or not, it should be about what they're looking for. But the great thing about being a retail manager is that we've pretty much touched on every skill that exists out there, isn't there? There's not many skills I've come across that a retail manager hasn't had some use of or developed over their times. That's, I guess, one benefit of us being overworked, over relied on, and getting our hands and having many hats and getting involved in a lot of things. So it doesn't mean you're going to be lying on your CV and resume by putting loads of stuff on there either. So any more questions? And probably second part of your question as well, easily overlooked and forgotten by retail managers. Probably the thing with being a retail manager is that we've done it for so many years. It's like that, learning to drive. It's hard when we learn to drive, and then once you kind of have been driving for a number of years, you take everything for granted. So probably some of the top skills that retail managers possess that I think are real key skills for looking at career changes. Leadership is a big one. We think ourselves as a manager, but leadership is the key one. Customer service. Customer service is absolutely poor out there in the world right now. So it's a key skill from a retail perspective, and there's a lot of customer service focused jobs. The world is all about saving money. So things like process improvement, improving efficiencies are some really key transferable skills. Budget management, again, people are pretty poor at running, managing multiple budgets and high costs. And actually, from a retail perspective, we've got to run with tight margins, and we're effective at managing budgets. So that's quite a key skill. Those interpersonal skills are absolutely key as well. You don't often meet a retail manager that's not good with people or customers. So stakeholder engagement, colleague engagement, any kind of communication skills are often overlooked and taken for granted. They're probably the top ones. Leadership, customer service, anywhere, those kind of cost savings, cost management skills we always take for granted. But out there in the other industries, people were losing money all over the place, delivering awful customer service, are badly led. They're crying out for retail managers that's their bread and butter. Any other questions before we wrap up? Oh, some of you are off to retail. So we're going to wrap up. You'll be getting some emails from me over the next couple of days, just talking through some of the bits that we've covered, and compounding the message of what we've covered tonight. So if you do think of a question, as you can see, I'm a real person. I'm not just someone on the internet. You will have the opportunity to reply to that email and ask me any questions you have. So we're going to wrap up for this evening. Thank you everyone for joining me. Do let me know in the comments how you found this evening. I always love to hear your feedback. So thank you, and let me know how you've what you've got from this masterclass, and if you've enjoyed it. Otherwise, apart from those of you going off to your retail job and starting to work now, have a good evening or afternoon wherever you are in the world, and hopefully I will catch some of you in the academy over the next few days. So take care everyone.